Well, welcome to 10-Minute Record Reviews, episode number 29, and today we're going to talk about Dire Straits' 1978 release, Dire Straits, their eponymous debut. And I've got a, it's not, there's no actual year I can find, but it's either a late 70s or an early 80s Mercury repress, which sounds pretty good, I think. Well, this is obviously the debut. This is their early sound. It's one of two records with both Knopfler brothers on, with David on rhythm guitar as well as Mark on lead. Both of them playing typically very sort of clean tone Fender Stratocasters. So it's sort of elegant pub rock, I guess you could call it that. Very carefully crafted songs, very intelligent, cinematic lyrics by Mark Knopfler, and a really and a novel sound at that particular time when this came out. They were from Newcastle, of course. They'd been gigging in London for a while, not getting anywhere, getting rejected for record deals, and making demos. And they had a friend who was a DJ, and they went with their demo tape, not actually to ask him to play it, but just to get some advice on the music and to find out why they were getting turned down. But he loved it. It had Sultans of Swing on it, which of course is the big hit on this record, and he put it on heavy rotation on the BBC. I guess it helps to have friends in high places or in strategic places. 2 months later, they had a deal with Polygram, and this album is very much lyrically it reflects this transition that they're undergoing at this time from a pub rock band in Newcastle to gigging in London to making it big. A lot of people on this record notice a similarity between Knopfler's playing and the playing of J.J. Cale, who released a string of great kind of, we call it country rock or country folk, or I don't know, or blues folk, or I don't know quite what you'd call J.J. Cale's music, but in the late 60s and early 70s, very influential, not just on Knopfler, but of course on Eric Clapton, who recorded a couple of J.J. Cale's songs. Again, a very clean Fender sound to the soloing and to the rhythm, and Knopfler himself has acknowledged his huge debt to Cale's playing. This album has, overall, one real impression you get from listening to this is Knopfler's gift for lyrics and for his capacity to situate you as a listener in the scene that he's describing. When I listen to his songs, I get a really vivid picture, and that doesn't always happen with other music. He also has, I think, great empathy for the subjects of his songs, and that comes across as well. Maybe the reason you're situated is because you can tell that when he's singing, he actually gives a damn about the people and places and circumstances that he's singing about. The original lineup, of course, is John Illsley on bass, Pick Withers on drums, David Knopfler on rhythm guitar, and Mark Knopfler on lead guitar. After it's difficult with two brothers, where one brother is writing all the songs, basically running the band, getting all the kudos, and playing lead guitar and all the rest of it. And I guess egos began to clash, and after 2.5 albums, he left during the making of the third. But here the egos aren't clashing, and they're playing really as simpatico. And I don't ever think the band was as good after David left, in my estimation. So side one starts with Down to the Waterline, and right off the bat you've got that clean Fender Strat tone, which is so characteristic of Dire Straits and of Mark Knopfler's playing. It's a very Newcastle specific song, followed by Water of Love, where Knopfler switches to a national steel guitar. Which is wonderful slide playing there. This is it's a lovely change of pace actually between those two songs, and a welcome one in retrospect, because there is a certain sameness to some of the other songs in the record when you've just got a lot of Strat playing. This actually really does freshen things up. It's a very simple little mournful love song, and very good. Then there's a song which could easily have been, well, if I'm being uncharitable, it could easily have been an Eric Clapton song from Eric Clapton's kind of boring mid-70s phase, called Setting Me Up. And in fact, it was not only what could it have been an Eric Clapton song, Eric actually ultimately covered it on his Just One Night live album. It's about a relationship circling the drain. it's it's a little bit country tinged, and it's not a bad song, but it's to me it's not necessarily one of the stronger cuts on the record. Probably why Clapton, in his more tedious phase, decided that he liked it. Then the last two songs on side one, Six Blade Knife. The key part about this song is John Illsley's bass playing, which really drives the whole song, and Knopfler's guitar just kind of weaves in and out around the bass line. Then Southbound Again, which I mentioned sounds very much like a J.J. Cale song, and in a good way. And this is one of those songs about leaving Newcastle, going to the big time, and so on. There's a wistfulness about the song. I think it's a very beautiful song. Great way to close out the side. Side two starts with Sultans of Swing, which is, of course, their monster hit, and along with Money for Nothing, probably one of the two songs with which they're most associated as a band. It's a timeless tribute to to pub bands, to live music, what music is all about. It resonates, I think, with anybody who's ever played in a band. And apparently, it's based on a true story of Knopfler sort of walking around in London, and he's hearing a little jazz band playing in a pub and going in, and there's this jazz band. Meanwhile, there's there are the guys in the corner playing pool and ignoring it because they didn't really like jazz, and so on. So anyway, it's evocative, it's cinematic, it's humorous, and the playing is wonderful. Knopfler's soloing is great. It's a fantastic song. The pace is slowed down then with In the Gallery, which is about is a biographical story of a sculptor who just can't make it while he's alive and then becomes famous, gets in the gallery, as it were, after he dies. And it's sort of a bitter comment on the fickleness of and the phoniness of the art world. And this again is another song, maybe because of the pacing of the song, but I hear J.J. Cale's influence very much on this song as well, maybe as much as anywhere else on the album. Lovely song comes up next, which is the Wild West End, which is a kind of a in contrast to some of the other songs which are kind of reticent about leaving Newcastle in the big time or wistful about Newcastle, this is actually a celebration of, and if you spent a summer evening in London walking around whether in the West End or elsewhere, the song I think will resonate with you. It's a wonderful slow pace sort of name checking of wonderful sights, sounds, smells, etc. of London's West End. It's got a great chorus. I don't know how this can't connect with you if you've had anything remotely similar as an experience. And then finally, Lions, which is another paean to London. It's about Trafalgar Square, and and again talks about all the various things that you experience there. So overall, this album has, well, I think the first thing you have to say about it in summing up is that the songwriting is next level compared to the standard of songwriting you've gotten in almost any other record in the late 70s. There's a variety of tempos, there's a variety of musical styles, and there's really great playing and varied playing by Knopfler. They're always kind of limited as a band by Knopfler's singing, which is a bit of a croak, I think, to be fair to him. But his lyrics are brilliant. So it's much like Bob Dylan, he manages to escape the limitations of his own singing just by having relatively brilliant things come out of his mouth when he does sing. I'd say, frankly, overall, this is their best album. I don't think they were ever as good again as they are here. Actually, I would say even in their 80s heyday. I would say certainly then in their 80s heyday. This to me is a distillation of what was great about this band with their original lineup. And I think it's also the highest level of energy that they ever achieved as a group. So I give this album 4.5 stars out of 5.